It was cool in the fact that I could do a 200 mile an hour burnout in less than 3 seconds.
Is there any of like people that have come out with their cars or like just any video in general that just didn't make it to the internet?
Oh yeah, all the time. Yeah, that's when in your head where you're like, I'm a good driver.
Yeah,
you see somebody do that and you're like, I'm not a good driver. I think if more big people could drive it, I think it would get a better rapport.
Absolutely.
Like, it's the best car ever. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
It is. We're jamming.
Third gear.
Yeah, third, fourth gear. Like, that's scary. I don't know if I like it.
See how you doing the pressure. Yeah, I've been wanting this shit forever. I've been in the field with whatever they throw at me. Brush it off, pick myself up, moving on to the better. Hey. Yeah. Ain't no errors, baby, it's a new era. I wake up early feeling rich like I'm Kesha. I get to the paper, boy.
Welcome back to the #1 Drift podcast on YouTube, presented by Injuku Racing. My name is Dawson, and today we have...
Dan Summer, a.k.a. Danger Dan.
Hell yeah. If you don't recognize him, you probably will from some of the stories we get into. But major legend of drifting, for one. Probably one of the OGs, right?
I'm pretty OG in this. I've been doing this for about 20 years, yeah.
Okay, we're going to call it OG. But, of course, before we get into all of that, look below the video. Make sure that subscribe button is still not red. If it is, click it and make sure you hit that notification bell as well, so you're always updated with every episode. Don't forget, grab a shirt from 144, and I should have some stuff coming out as well soon. They're on back order right now, so I'm just waiting. But keep an eye out for that. And then, of course, like I mentioned last podcast, S13 guys, the Type X style taillights from J Replace. Don't miss out on those. Best taillights for S13 hatch, and they're cheaper. So do that. And of course, we are not at Drift Indy No Start Bash, but we're at Dan's place right now, which is down the road, sort of. But that's what we're here all weekend for, and it's been a blast. It's been my first Drift Indy event. I don't know.
I actually was at the first No Star Bash.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Duh.
And I'm originally from St. Louis, so they did No Star Bash in St. Louis at Gateway, which was really sick. It's like one of the best drift tracks.
Is that the one where Swan was talking about how it kind of like the grid went out on the road? Where was that at?
Oh, that was Streets of Detroit, MDU.
So okay, that's what. That makes sense.
That was one of the coolest things ever.
I wish I would have experienced that.
Like, that was sketchy stuff there for sure.
Well, so give it a little backstory on No Star Bash then, because it's like I said, it's been around for a long ass time, and I feel like not very many people actually know that.
I think this is 13. From what
is it really 13 years?
13, 11 or 13. Something. It's up there. It's over 10 years.
Either way, that's a lot of years.
It's over 10 years.
In a sport this new, for sure.
For sure, it's been around for a long time. We have, like I said, when we did it at St. Louis, that was actually one of my first connections to Hoonigan. So,
no way.
Hurt and Scotto came up to film that, and it was kind of last minute for them. But that. In St. Louis, that course was, you saw it in the first year of Formula Drift when they ran St. Louis, the big track.
Yeah.
Now it's changed, and they changed that because, the seating and stuff like that.
Right.
That road course is fast. I mean, it's triple-digit entries, and you're top gear all the way through. I think that's another reason they stopped running FD there, because it's so much consumption on tires and stuff.
Yeah.
But we were running on that, which was a big dog course back then. It was like, man, that was fun.
That's insane.
So another kind of like this, I mean, it was a lot of drivers. There's probably 60 drivers, and back then that's a lot of drivers.
There was like close to 200 for this event, which is mind-boggling.
Yeah, it's grown. Obviously, it's grown, and I even think next year will be even bigger from what they're talking about, making more of having maybe bands or something like that to show up and chill out, which is already like a sensory overload of what to do
it's
there.
already reaching that cusp of like Hyperfest, Grid Life type deal. They're just missing all of the music and the extracurricular stuff, I guess.
I think the difference in what Edgar was saying about it is that it is just drifting.
Yeah.
It's just dedicated to drifting. And that's what's cool about it.
Impressive.
It's 4 days of just drifting. There's today is still a day.
We got to go there after this.
Yeah, we're done. We're going back.
It's ridiculous.
I got 5 dudes at my house right now in there eating my food, ready to
eating his food, drinking his coffee, trying to get their life together.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I did want to ask, what is your opinion on the Drift Indy events and how they're ran versus other events? Because me personally, I love the style aspect. There's not a single car at this event that doesn't look good to a certain extent.
Yeah.
Like, they're all somewhat taken care of. And even in, like, the driver's meeting yesterday for DISL, he was like, tomorrow morning, before you pull out on track, wash your fucking car.
For the drivers, they got free car wash.
Yeah.
How cool is that?
Why wouldn't you wash your car?
Yeah.
Like, well, I walked over to the bathroom and saw it, and I was like, oh my God, they weren't joking.
Yeah. Edgar can be abrasive. I told you that before you even came in there. I was like, Edgar, he's not for everybody, but I love him for it.
Yeah.
You know, he's true to himself and he's strict, and that's what makes the events run good. Mm-hmm. So
sport needs
he
it.
comes in and somebody he's calling people out as they're walking away. He's like, your car looks like shit, go wash it. You know, it's like, I took the time to set it up to give you a free car wash. Go, you don't even have to wash it. There's a guy who's gonna wash it for you. So
oh my God, I didn't know that.
Yeah, they did a really good job. Sasha did it, and it turned out great.
Damn.
Sasha drove 12 hours up here. So he got up, got a car wash, pulled straight in.
Yeah, Sasha's a wild man for that.
Yeah.
Kitted out, IS 300.
I think the events, to answer your question, I think the events are really good because they've been doing it for a long time.
Yeah.
When I first started drifting, I would travel up to the Drift Indy events, and that was when everything was kind of getting rooted and finding different groups of people. Where are people drifting? And local events were harder to find. This is one of the first events I'd come to. It was one of the closest ones to me from St. Louis. It was like 4 or 5 hour drive.
Yeah, it's not too bad. It's about what it is for me.
Yeah, and I mean, look at what you have now, like where people come from. Swan, who's running grid for everything.
Yeah,
like
Swan's the man.
That was,
and they go way back too. Him and Edgar.
Yeah, because they were starting these events, right?
Yeah. Okay.
So they were starting these events.
That's the backstory I heard, but I wanted to clarify that.
Yeah. So Swan started here with Drift Indy and stuff, and Edgar and them, they just ran all kinds of stuff. So now, Swan obviously going everywhere. You see him at Grid Life, you see him at LS Fest, all kinds of stuff. He is pretty much your drifting guy. Like
absolutely.
When I show up to a track,
if I choose any flagger that I want, it's Swan every time.
Exactly.
Dude, the amount of seat time you get just for example, first day we didn't have Swan, second day we did. Now I know the way he sends people is just like go. He'll send 10 cars at once.
Yeah. And
some people don't like that, but like it gives you the opportunity to leave the space or not.
Yeah.
I think that's good.
Yeah, I think that's cool, and most guys are respectful. You could even see it here.
They are. I will say there's some other places. Y'all ain't that respectful.
There's definitely those places, but here, I think they've crafted a bunch of really good drivers here, and it's from being stern in the meetings. It's from giving everybody shit and being around for a long time that they make it run pretty smooth. And all these younger drivers, when you're out there, they're very respectful, man. And they'll sit in their like 3-car train, and if they want to come with us, come with us.
Yeah.
If you don't, fine.
Okay, bye.
And when we started off, it was Scott and I this week just like, let's get in tune with each other.
Right.
And the track. Like I've only driven this a few times since I moved here. And Scott's never driven it. So it was like, let's take our time and get into it. And then by day 2, we're like 15-car trains. And Scott was running so hard all night last night.
Scott's a crazy driver. He doesn't drive that often, but when he does, he's a ripper.
Yeah. So, well, he's pretty avid on the sim too.
Yeah.
So that definitely helps a lot. And I've seen it change his driving. I've known him for years too. So I think they have a really special thing here. Mm-hmm. When I came in here years ago, it was fun, whatever, just drifting.
Yeah.
It was like pretty much the same everywhere you go. Everybody's trying to get their feeling of how to run events and things. And then coming back all these years later and see how fluid and smooth everything is. Mm-hmm. It's fantastic now. Mm-hmm. And then seeing all these new drivers, like it's not just No Star Bash. Like a lot of events out here are like this and have a lot of drivers, and you get a lot of seat time. And seeing these new drivers and stuff come in, it's like, dude, these guys are 15 to 17 years old, crushing it.
Oh yeah, Cash.
Yeah,
for
Cash,
one.
Yeah, he's
He's not even new now, but like.
I was just telling Scott last night after we left the track, I was like, I like to think I'm a good driver, and then you see somebody like that, and I was like, you don't. Fuck, man. I don't want to admit that this kid's better than me. I don't want to admit it yet. But I was like watching him on the simulator when we were just hanging out afterwards and watching his reaction time to things. I was like, I'm not that fast.
Yeah, it makes sense now.
I'll be honest with you, man. I ain't that fast anymore. Like, he's good.
Things get slower with age, man.
There's a lot, man. You see, like, the team Smooth Brain, those dudes.
Yeah.
I mean, they're inches from each other the whole day. It's like, I can do that for a couple laps.
Yeah,
I don't get too stressed
especially
out.
with you had no power steering after the first day.
Yeah, I get too stressed out if I'm in a train like that all day long. It's
yeah.
Like, all right, now I'm tired.
Fucking Christ. I get tired just being 3 laps on track doing solos.
It was hot.
It was ungodly hot this weekend, which is weird for Ohio. Actually, one thing I did want to mention about the Drift Indy events, though. One thing I noticed that is different than, I think, every other event I've been to. Every single time you go to one, the host is never present.
Yeah.
It's never. I never see the host anywhere.
Cruise on
They're
in.
never hanging out. They're never riding around, making sure people are okay. None of that. Edgar is the only person I've ever seen constantly throughout every single day at the event.
Yep.
And on top of that, the motherfucker jumped on the DJ.
Yeah, multiple
I didn't even
talents.
know you could do that.
And then Sean, he does most of the media stuff, like, he's proper good DJ. They're over there running stuff, and then he's out driving. He's organizing the vendors and everything to come in. And then he'd go hit a run group, and then he's DJing, and then he did bingo. It's like, he's super talented and doing all those things.
Hot dog contest and shit.
Dan's running around pretty much holding everything together.
Yeah.
Like, well, those two are dicking around and making everybody laugh. Dan is like running everything, trying to make sure that everybody's doing their job and making sure all the cars are good. And, you know, Derek and everybody is giving pointers. Like, their system works really well.
Yeah.
And that's why it's really cool here. Like,
Absolutely.
I think it's a very special place. If you never even thought about drifting in Ohio, you should. And Killcare is really, really fun. Like,
I'd agree.
It's really fun.
It's one of the best circle tracks I've been to.
Yeah. And it's always, they change it up all the time.
Yeah.
So it's never boring. Like,
Right.
changing, we've already done 3 layouts and switch back and forth. So I guess 4th layout and whatever in a couple days. So that's pretty cool. But if you want to level up your driving, come out here and find some kid you've never seen before and watch him smoke you.
Yeah.
It's kind of it. It's like there's some dude out there in a turbo Miata that's going to put it on your door. Because there's 20
some dudes
of
out there with $150 horsepower that'll slam it on your door somehow.
stock power Z's that like I would be pressed to push them in this thing. Like, come on, man. So yeah, there's a lot of talent out here, and it's a very good time. You're gonna get seat time. It's not expensive. Like, they have it
expensive at all.
dialed. So
Absolutely. And I guess that'll kind of branches me into the Drift Appalachia stuff, because they're probably the only event host that could really pull that off. You're starting to see other people do it.
Yep.
Nowhere near the same level.
Yeah. And I've spoken with some of the other ones too, but I think
nothing against y'all either. I'm not.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I think it's a progression like that.
Yeah.
That's something we've always wanted to do, is drift on mountain roads and stuff like that's what I saw. That's what was the allure to me getting into drifting.
Yeah.
And now that it's a real thing, it's like, this is amazing. And everybody saw, oh, it can happen. And they're trying to do it. But it's like, first of all, these guys put in a lot of work to do it. It wasn't like, oh, we could probably just do this and run an event. It took a long time for them to get all the permits and everything that they had to get correct, and then make sure that they had the right and correct format for safety and all this stuff. It's not like they're just anybody. It's like Brian Eckert. He's in Formula Drift. He's a judge. He's been around for a long time. And Derek and Reese and all the Edgar, everybody, they've been around for a long time and seen it. They don't want to ruin it. Like, this is our big shot. Let's make it good. And I think it's good for an example. I know that there should be more, right?
Yeah,
there
absolutely.
should be other venues. It's not like they need to corner the whole market of it.
Yeah, no.
I think as the start of it, they're fantastic, and they can stay there and make more.
Yeah, they just got to set the precedent that they're the OG of it.
And how to do it, And I think you got to look at it. Anybody else who's trying to do it, look at what they're doing here and take it really seriously. Mm-hmm. And that, everybody's gung ho. They just wanted to go. Like, oh, dude, we could go drifting. It's like, no, we're not just going street drifting, man. Like, it's a real event.
Yeah,
and
there's a lot more that goes into it.
And a lot of people don't think about it too. There's real consequences to this. And as far as I know, in my life of drifting, I've never seen a death in drifting.
I haven't, yeah.
Right?
I'd agree.
I've never seen it or heard of it. Like
some gnarly crashes,
at an event.
That's about it.
At an event in America,
I've
never heard of that. But I mean, this is one of those things that this could change that. That it is that dangerous. Like, and you have to treat it like that. You have to be serious. With the safety equipment, like wear full Hans device, arm restraints, Formula Drift cage. Like, you want that. It's 70 mile an hour and a tree's 2 feet from you.
Oh yeah.
Like
I've said it before. I feel as if the driving skill would be there if the car would operate correctly, but I don't have the guts to right now. Yeah. There's no way in hell.
Well, and that's the other part
scary.
of it. And that's something that we've talked about a lot too. They're going to be flooded with emails. Oh, I want to drive it. I want to drive it. Everybody's trying to get into it.
Everyone wants to drive it, but can you?
Can you? Right? That's one of the things. And you got to trust everybody out there. So they go through a pretty good screening process. Like, the reason I'm in is because I've known them for years. I've driven all of their events. I used to do Streetwise with Eggert.
Just to clarify that, not just knowing them, they've seen him drive for 20 plus years.
Yeah. So like,
that's the reasoning.
Like, we started off doing other different pro-ams and stuff like that. That was the thing. That was the goal back then. Like, I wanted to be a pro driver. I want to get a pro license. Like, that's the kind of deal. So I did pro-ams everywhere, and I went out to Streetwise with Brian Eggert and those guys. I went to, like, their first one. Like, and that's how I got to know them and drive their events and be respectful, right? Meet new people, be respectful, drive with new people. And the same thing here when I ran MDU for, like, 3-4 seasons, but I've always been around Drift Indy and stuff like that. It's like, I've known these guys for years. They know how I react at the track, that, I don't want to crash. I drive.
I think any of us do.
I drive really clean, and it's like, that's kind of the rapport that we had with that. And then you can maybe vouch for a guy who's like, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know a guy that you probably know too. It's like, I trust driving with this dude. So it's kind of, that's how it started.
Yeah.
At first. And I know there's a screening process still like that. Mm-hmm. But if you think about it, it's like, you have to trust everybody out there. We're all on the same team. Like, you have to.
Yeah.
There's 20 dudes. We're all going at the same time.
At once.
Yeah, we're all going up and down. And you got to trust everybody. You can't see the next corner.
Right.
Or you might be the fifth guy in the train. And, like, if somebody spun around that corner, you're moving.
You don't know it. Yeah,
like,
you're cooking it. Especially going downhill.
I've seen some of the other events too, and it's like, well, that kind of looked like a driveway, didn't it? That looked like maybe they're in first gear. I was like, we're jamming.
Third gear.
Third, fourth gear. Like, that's scary. I don't know if I like it. But it's really fun, and I think it needs to grow.
Absolutely.
And I don't see these guys failing.
Oh, no.
So I think Drift Appalachia will be around. I think anybody who's trying to, I don't want to say imitate it, like, who's caught on, needs to imitate it though. Yeah. Like, you need to put in the work to find out.
Imitate the foundation.
Right.
And then add your little seasoning to it, or whatever you want to call it.
Exactly. But it's gotta work for all of us. If something goes wrong in a different event, it kind of hurts all of us.
Yeah, it'll crumple everything.
Then any sponsor or anything else that's looking into it might be like, I don't know about that. So I think that's part of what makes that special, is like, these guys really put in the work to do that.
I really need to have Edgar on just to explain a lot of that stuff, because there's so much misconception.
Put this mic outside and let him yell.
I know. Right. Set it 10 feet away from him at least.
He's good people, man. So.
There's just so much misconception on the events, and I hate that, because everyone wants to drive it, and I get it, but, like,
It'll
you
happen.
gotta work for it.
It'll
Not
happen.
everything can just be handed to you guys.
Yeah, it'll happen. And it's one of those things, like, you think you got the skill to do it until you get there, and then you go, oh, shit, this is real deal. For me, I really enjoy that style of driving. I always have. I like big, fast road course. I've always been a boring driver. Like, I don't drive with a lot of angle, and I'm just clean and consistent. I don't really like to flirt with the walls that much. It's like, I know I can do it. I just don't like to because I want longevity. I want to do a bunch of laps.
I want to keep driving all day.
And hone in on skills. So I really enjoy that style of driving, but yeah, you get there and you're like, well, am I capable of this?
Yeah.
And, you can see it in everybody else's faces. The last round we had in Kentucky, when we all drove up, it was like, whoa, this is fast. Who's going to do this first? And it's like, you leave
Those goes.
You leave it to someone like Matt Kaufman and just go up and blare out.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Like, oh, cool. Well, I don't want to follow him. I can't see shit.
God, he's insane. That's one driver that blows my mind every time he goes out on track.
Huge natural talent.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I guess speaking of talent, and since you've been such a veteran of the sport, what is like one thing for newer guys that you see where they don't necessarily comprehend or grasp when they're first starting, or the best like thing that could help them get their start in drifting, simply?
I think it's been talked about a lot, like overbuilding your cars and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's one thing. But I think what helps is listen to people at the track. Listen to guys that are there. Listen to the local guys that have been doing it for years, and just pay attention. That's it.
Yeah.
I mean, really just pay attention to what's going on and how everything feels. And that's one thing, like we mentioned with Cash. I really admire how he has, like, he's very attentive to what's going on around him.
Oh, yeah.
And he's very chill at, how he approaches things. Like, don't just jump in with somebody and try and do tandem. Like, meet them, hang out with them first.
Yeah.
And
go say hi.
Enjoy it. Yeah. But overall, just enjoy yourself. Don't get too serious. Like,
yeah,
it's fun. And also I don't know. You ask for one thing, but there's multiple things. Like,
yeah, I know that's a very long-winded.
Yeah.
It could be a long-winded answer, but
yeah, I think most importantly is just listen to the guys who've been around it for a long time, and especially speaking for Drift Appalachia. If you go back to that, that's how to get into it, right? Yeah. Listen to these guys. Listen to Edgar. Listen to guys that are the event organizers. They're watching you. It's not like they're not watching you.
Yeah.
So pay attention to the organizers and be good to them.
The dude flagging, they're watching you most.
They're watching you too. They know who sucks.
Yeah, absolutely.
They obviously know. If you fuck up, they know. And they're like, yeah, you're one. Yeah, one.
Yeah.
You're not two.
I don't want to see another finger out the window from you.
Yeah, there's no more. Yeah, one. They know that. So I think pay attention to those guys because they're paying attention to you. And that's how you get into a lot of events.
Cool.
So
that's good. All right, well, we don't have to go down that rabbit hole, but I do want to talk about the Miata. I know this is the car, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, but you brought the Miata to Drift Indy. Mm-hmm. Tell me a little bit about that car, because I know don't you daily it sometimes?
Oh, yeah.
Drive it around? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, tell me about it.
So it's my little turbo NB Miata. It's a ISR turbo kit. It's fantastic. Like, I bolted
ISR,
that.
baby.
Dude, it's so good. Like,
good parts.
That AK and I were talking about it, and it's like, dude, you gotta do the NB.
Yeah.
I'm so frustrated. I always loved the NB Miata, and everybody
that's
has the
without
NA.
the pop-ups, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's my favorite body style.
Yeah, everybody has the NA, and I was like, the NA gets all the cool stuff. When's the NB gonna get some love? And I was talking to AK. It's like, I want a kit for the NB, dang it. It's like, all right, we got
Solid.
it. I haven't had any issues with that thing. It's been over 2 years now of just beating the shit out of that thing, and it's been amazing.
Shit. That's just a full kit, right? Like everything.
It's a full kit.
In one.
The only thing I had to do was like make one of the holes bigger for the intercooler piping and then weld on a bung for the oil return.
Oh, that's cake.
That's it. Yeah.
Easy peasy.
You can find any normal shop to do that. You take your oil pan out. If you can't weld or you don't have a welder, you just
Yeah.
have somebody weld it up real quick.
Super simple. That'd probably cost you, what,
$40? Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
depending on where you are.
I would, if you drove up to me and were like, hey, man, you weld this? I'm like, yeah, $40.
Yeah.
It's like that.
Yeah.
But it's a great car. I've had quite a few Miatas. I've done time attack with Miatas. I really love the Miatas. And building Shark Cart on Hoonigan.
Oh, yeah.
That was my first.
I got that to bring up.
That was my first project with Hoonigan. And I really love the way they drive, and everybody loved the way they drive. And I was like, man, this like 260, 280 wheel horsepower Miata freaking rips.
Absolutely.
I need one of those. So turboed it, and it's become just a fantastic drift car. Now I have all the destroyer die front and rear. Nice. So all the arms, got a ton of angle, and it's very adjustable. Like I told you yesterday that I time attack it as well. So it's not that far off of a setup from what I drift with that I run with time attack. Like it's really minimal in the alignment. So
if you want to replicate his turbo setup, literally just go buy the kit on Ninjuku, by the way.
Yeah, buy it.
It's literally there.
And I have a whole tutorial on my YouTube, every single step and every link to anything on there.
Perfect.
Anything you need to know how to do that. And I've revised it, and I've answered some other questions in the comments. It should be absolutely everything you need. So, and if not, just DM me. I'll help you figure it out.
Yeah, there you go.
But it's a fantastic car, and it's been super reliable. Yeah, and it's definitely overlooked. But I like to take it to events like this, like the bashes and stuff like that. And I like to really work for driving with some of my friends who bring a car like this. I'm like, I can make the Miata do that. And then you're like, nah, I can't.
I'm not gonna lie, I was impressed with the car.
Yeah,
I was extremely impressed. I know Miatas are like usually pretty snappy and they drive different, just completely different. But I'm heavily surprised with how like floaty and just smooth that your car actually drove, because I've been in a couple Miatas, but
yeah, I think it's just a setup thing over the years. Just knowing how to set my cars up, they all kind of feel the same. I like to keep them a bit loose and drive.
You said it kind of drives like this.
It does.
Chassis, right?
Yep. Yeah. I run everything kind of similar.
Yeah.
So it drives a lot more like my S14 in a way, is it's relaxed. Mm-hmm. But I've driven Miatas that are snappy. Yeah. And I've had Miatas that are snappy, and I like that. I tried to keep a couple different cars. That's why I like the Miata and the S14. And if you compare it to sports, in a way, it's like using a weight on a baseball bat. Like the guys put a weight on a baseball bat and swing it so it feels lighter when they go out to actually hit the ball. That's how I feel about the Miata.
Doing that.
You drive the Miata, it's super snappy, and it's like it really keeps your hands going and your feet going. So you have to react way faster than most cars.
Yeah.
You drive that at an event, and then the next day hop into this. It's like, oh, this is nothing. It's just like relaxing,
Yeah.
Like, it's just like it comes to you so easily. And I like to keep that kind of balance of driving multiple different cars.
Yeah.
So that's
why would someone choose to run a tighter setup versus a loose setup just for your casual grassroots drifting? Because you'll hear people talk about it all the time where
I think
I can't stay really gripped up and blah blah blah, which I like a little bit of grip, but I still like to.
I don't know. I think that's the competition mindset in a lot of people. There's two styles of drifting. Well, there's more, but I mean, two basic styles of drifting. There's style drifting, and then there's competition drifting.
Right.
And I think some of the guys get confused at which one they're doing. You know what I mean? Like at this event, this is a bash, man. We're not trying to be gripped up and run each other over. Like it's not a competition. We're here to have fun and drive with each other, not against each other, with each other. That's the goal. But I understand completely. I'm competitive as hell. I want grip too. I don't want nobody to gap me. That's for sure. But that's it. Yeah, that's kind of it. It's just like.
Do you run a lot of grip up front?
No.
Really. You keep it pretty loose up front too.
Yeah, I like for days like this on a bash day. I might even run 30 psi in the front tires.
No way.
Because I like it to slide a little bit. Like,
Yeah.
I don't have wise fab or anything like that.
I'm starting to get used to the front end pushing more
Yeah.
and trying to bump it up a little bit. I've always kind of had that driving around the front end style as I was learning. But I'm starting to understand it and like feel the difference, especially having a better angle kit.
I think that because when I started, there wasn't these big angle kits and stuff like that. It's just become second nature to me to drive like that.
Yeah.
And I've driven multiple cars with wise fab and things like that and set up. And I just didn't like it. Like I could adjust to it. I could get there after a few laps and be like, yeah, I understand it. I know how to drive with it. It's not my style. I don't like it.
Yeah.
Like I still like to kind of float the front end, like just throw it a little bit and you can feel the front scrub a little instead of it. I don't know. Like the transition of it feels a little weird. I forgot where I was even going with that actually.
Just front grip and stuff.
Front grip. Yeah. So yeah, but you know, if I'm on the mountain and stuff, I'll put a little more grip into it, but,
just to be safe.
Yeah, that's a safety thing. But also it's just for the front. But for the rear, I like to keep it pretty loose, even on the mountain. Like I start off real loose, so I can adjust.
I always have like I try to be really aggressive on entries with clutch kicks and stuff, so I'm always scared to go too loose.
Yeah, I
just
think
spin it.
Well then don't.
I know.
You know, like
I'll normally start too low and then
Yeah.
raise up and go from there.
you can half throw it on your first lap out.
True.
Give it a half throw, see where the car's at, and then you know. All right, next
I
one.
just get too eager.
Next one I can huck it or I don't. You got to feel out the track. You got to feel out your car. I mean,
Yeah.
everything changes. Temperature changes. Like even from the day to the night.
Oh,
yesterday,
dude, it was
a massive
insane.
grip change.
Yeah.
Once it cooled off, I was like, whoa, I don't know if I have enough power
Temp
anymore.
changes too.
Yeah.
For some reason, it seemed like I was getting hotter at night.
Yeah.
It's weird.
I don't know why.
Don't understand.
you're running-
A lot of it, I
running
thought it was
harder.
just like sitting, like everyone's exhaust is blowing on my radiator and shit. It's just soaking in hot air.
Yeah.
Maybe, but like then again,
You're running
whatever.
harder. I don't think you're paying attention because you're just running harder. You feel
Oh,
cool,
yeah,
and
true.
like the day has already been going and everybody's feeling it. So you're just
I will
like,
say I had some
hot lap.
pent up anger to get out on
Yeah.
those first two runs when I went out there, and I cooked it to like 2:30.
Yeah, dude. I always once you start feeling the flow of the event and everybody's jamming, it's like, how many laps did we just do? Like I didn't realize it yesterday when I had you ride with me. I was like, how many laps are on? And then all
5, 6.
and then all my friends pull out. Like we'd been running the train already like 4 or 5 laps, and then all my friends pull out. I was like, well, I got to go drive with those guys. It's like my car's definitely almost overheating. It's like, yeah, but I got to get at least a lap with them.
Yeah, we gotta do it at least.
Yeah.
Can't miss
that's,
out.
That's why your car's
FOMO's a
overheating.
bitch.
Yeah, that's why your car's heating up. And you feel hot. It's like, maybe I just did 10 laps. I don't know.
Yeah. That last lap I did with Scott, the car was hot, but I was like, I want this one.
Yeah.
I need this one. I hadn't been able to tandem hardly at all because I was in a wrong group with nobody I knew.
Yeah.
But oh well. Okay, sorry. We can jump off that. The Miata though, I do want to jump back on that. The 60 degrees of angle on the angle kit. I wanted to mention that because you mentioned all the big angle kits and stuff.
Yeah.
I personally, all those angle kits, it is way too much angle. It's unnecessary. You'll never need that. It's just to kind of save your ass. But I like that you play the middle ground with kind of that 60 percentage.
Yeah.
And it still gives you the ability to do road racing.
Yeah.
So explain how that's possible. Because most people, when they think of an angle kit, they think of really twitchy, like sudden movements, even if it's not an absurd amount of angle.
Yeah.
You know.
So with the Destroyer Die kit that I have, like you can adjust how much, like how wide everything will be your track width, and that'll kind of adjust your angle and stuff as well. Like the further out you go, the more angle you can have.
Right.
That's your whole track width, and that's how the car operates too, where you get that swing. You know,
Yeah.
where it's kind of rotating around that. So the further in you go, it'll kind of balance that out. I have mine all the way in because it's still an extended arm on the Miata, even all the way in. I think I can't even remember. Maybe it's 2 inches wider in the front.
No way.
Something like that.
That's
It's been a while
crazy.
since I put it on, but there's a lot of adjustment.
How far out does it
They
go?
can go like, I don't know. It seems like it would be 3-4 inches at least. So it's like
Good
that's too
God.
much. I mean,
Talk
you'd
about
be
track
running
width.
a bunch of camber and stuff like that. But I run it all the way in, and I run. You know, if I'm drifting, I'll run an eighth toe out.
Yeah.
And then when I'm road racing, I'll run maybe 0 or an eighth in. So it's not a big adjustment.
Wow.
And in the rear, the Miatas are kind of hard to get your camber corrected and all that stuff in the rear.
Mm-hmm.
So I have not quite positive camber. It's like 0.1 almost, like whatever
Just
it
a
is.
cunt hair off.
Yeah, just maxed all the way in because they make it super aggressive. Like if you see how like Taylor Ray's car was, like
Oh
you
yeah.
know, it's like, well, that I ain't trying to do that. That dude's
Don't need
ripping
that.
up vets, you know.
Yeah.
And it's like it stays pretty neutral, and I can drive. The rear gives me good drive forward, and the front is just a minor adjustment, and it can be the same in the rear as well. Like if I want a little more grip, towing in, towing out. But I generally leave it because as a drift guy in time attack, I don't mind a little slip. So I might come through a corner and go
Walking out a little bit, we're fine.
Yeah, and I've done that a couple times at Grid Life. Like we did one at Willow Springs, and I came out hot, and I was like scared because I was like, I probably shouldn't be in A class. I feel like this car is not fast enough.
I don't deserve this.
Yeah, and I was like, man, there's a lot of really fast cars out here. And I came through a chicane, and I kind of lost it. You know, in grip racing terms, I would have been gone.
Yeah.
But I have this
Seems sketchier in
I got
grip
this
racing when you lose
super
traction.
angle kit, and I was able to save it and make it look super sick. It looked like it was intentional. I was like, it wasn't intentional. I was just trying not to crash. Yeah.
Oops, I did that on purpose though.
Yeah, it was sick, right? I did that. It's like, no, man, I was definitely crashed.
Oh my god.
But yeah, it's a minimal setup. And that's kind of the idea with the S14 too. I wanted to do something that I can also time attack, and I have more plans to build on this and make
That's
it
so
some
cool.
kind of time attack worthy. It's a little harder for me to figure out this car for grip than the Miata, because the Miata is so freaking good anyway. Like
Right.
it's a freaking race car. Like it really is. As much shit as people gave about them for years, it's like it's a race car.
The center of gravity on it
Yeah,
is
it's-
insane for
it's
one, out of the factory.
It's like a
So,
perfect car. If it was,
Yeah.
if big guys could drive it, then
Dude, that's true.
I think that's why it got it.
We are both small dudes.
Yeah.
And we both got in that Miata and we were like, fuck, man, we're stuck in here.
Yeah, I still feel like I'm Donkey Kong driving that thing. You know? But seeing, I think if more big people could drive it, I think it would get a better rapport.
Absolutely.
Like, it's the best car ever. Like, yeah,
yeah.
it is. But the S14, they're not great for grip. Guys have made it and made them for time attack and stuff, but you can make things work. But I got to figure that out. That's something I got to do on my own.
Well, that'd be cool to see.
Yeah.
Especially an S chassis going from drift to grip.
Try to.
That's not very often.
Yeah, and I think those setups make it a little harder. Like if you're running Wise Fab and you're running this, you ain't doing time attack. Like the car's gonna push.
Ain't no
and-
way, dog.
Yeah, but
All right, well, I guess let's talk about Hoonigan a little bit, because I know y'all will kill me if I don't. How did you? I guess you mentioned from No Star Bash and Drift Indy and stuff is how you kind of met them, right? How did the ends of Hoonigan happen?
I know Hurt for a long time. Hurt is the first one I knew there. So Hurt and I were just boys learning about drifting and tooling around on the internet on forum days before social media and all those things. That's how old we are. So before social media and all that stuff, we were on forums and learning, and like I said, going to find different places and different groups of who are drifting in what areas, rather than just who's local to me. Where can we go?
Right.
Because after you start driving local for a long time, it's like, oh, I want to try a different track.
Yeah, that's where I'm
wanna
at.
meet
I want to
some people.
experience shit.
And just through shared knowledge, meeting different people. And I knew Hurt through that on the forums with a bunch of my other friends.
That's crazy.
And we've known each other for years on forums before I'd actually met him. You know, that's how it goes with the internet friends. It's the same with gaming or anything like that. You game with people, and you're like, man, maybe I'll meet this guy in person someday.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
You see videos of it and stuff. People kindling up that have never met each other but played good 50,000 hours of Call of Duty together.
Like I
or something.
spent more time of my life with you than probably my sister.
Your wife.
Yeah. So it's that was kind of funny. I think the first time we actually met was at the track. I was trying to run Formula Drift Atlanta. They had a Pro-Am series to get into Formula Drift then.
Yeah.
And I needed gloves because I didn't have gloves. I had a borrowed fire suit. Like I was just a shitbag kid.
Fuck.
I drove my car from St. Louis to Atlanta with like 12 tires in it, thinking I'm gonna run a Pro-Am and get into FD. Like no trailer or anything.
Jeez.
And I was like, I could borrow a fire suit, but I need like racing gloves. They're never gonna let me in. Hurt worked at Njuku at the time. And he's like, I'll bring you some gloves, man. So
I got you, buddy.
I was just waiting on grid, like ready to qualify, and they're just holding me because I didn't have gloves.
Back when it was that relaxed.
Yeah, it wasn't that relaxed. It was just
now they just tell you piss off.
Yeah.
But.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, but it was more relaxed at least, I guess, back then. And I see Hurt in my rearview mirror, kind of like running towards my car. I got out, got the gloves. I was like, oh man, I can't wait.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah,
Thanks.
I can't wait to like actually hang out with you. After this, but I gotta go qualify. Yeah.
Dude, what a circumstance.
Yeah, and then we got to hang out afterwards and watch FD together and stuff, and that's how you build those relationships, right? It's over knowing each other on the internet and then having that kind of moment in person. And then a couple of years later, those guys came to No Star Bash, and that was my hometown. And I was like, I'm the king of this track. I love this track. Like this is going to be so much fun. And those guys came up, and it was right when Brian and Hurt were first getting into it, and it was just Brian and Hurt.
Wow,
There's no
dude.
camera guys running around. It's just Brian and Hurt.
Yeah.
There's Scotto, who's a monster, 6'8", standing there with a camera on the first corner. You're like, who the fuck is that guy? That guy's Hurt the same way. It Hurt's like 6'4", 6'5". He's a big dude.
Oh,
And
yeah.
you don't not notice him.
Yeah.
Both these guys running around with cameras.
Hi.
But that was when it was like first starting, and they were super raw and stuff, and that was really cool. It's one of the first videos that Hoonigan made. It was their Bash Bangers series. And if you haven't seen it, go look at it. It's called Bash Bangers.
What year was that actually? If you could like rough estimate it.
Maybe 2013, 14, something like that.
Okay.
2013, 14, something like that. I don't know.
I'm not gonna do that work to go find it for you guys, but you can.
This is a 3-day drift event, and my brain is already fried. I don't remember that far back. But it's called Bash Bangers. So go check that out. It's cool. The thumbnail is my car, my old S13. I was super stoked. I remember that. I was so stoked that I was like, oh, dude,
I made it.
that's my car. I made it on the internet, on YouTube. And then after that, I went in and we were running the shop. Then I talked to Hurt, and those guys ran off and did their own thing, and Hoonigan got freaking massive, dude. And it was cool. And so it was cool to be a part of that. And I just watched them grow from the sidelines, like it was cool to be involved with them early on, but as just some dude at the event.
Yeah.
And I was just kind of the host because I was the guy that lived there, and Hurt knew me. Like, I know Dan.
Yeah, he can do it.
He'll get us in the right direction. What we can do or whatever, and who should we follow? Who is the drivers, and hook him up like that. So,
hell yeah.
Then years later, I worked with Formula Drift, and I worked with Dean Carney. I worked with Word House Drift Team and stuff for years. I worked with Andy Gray.
Yeah.
I lived in Japan. All kinds of stuff had happened in between, and I was like, I think I'm sick of Formula Drift. I had a couple seasons. We'd won some championships, and I was like, "Oh, this is amazing," but I'm tired of it. So I told
Formula
Dean that
Drift's a lot.
I was like, "I got to make my way out of this, brother. I'm tired."
Yeah.
And then that was right about the time somebody hit me up from there. Was like, "We need a fabricator. I'm gonna come by and check this place out." And I was like, "Yeah,
sure."
I've been looking. I sat down, and I was waiting for my interview, and I saw Hurt walk in. He's like, what are you doing here? I was like,
Whoa, what do you know? I'm here for a
maybe
job.
gonna be a fabricator. And he walks behind, like there's the wall there, right? I'm sitting in this room. This is just like the donut spot to hang out. And there's the wall where everybody's editing and all that on the other side. And that's where the work's actually happening. He walks around the back and I can hear him. He's like, yo, that dude's fucking sick. And Brian came out and he's
Immediate
like,
good word.
yeah, Brian came
Hired.
out and was like, oh, it's you. I was like, yeah, what's up,
me.
man? He's like, man, you're the one that built that like coyote thing, you and your buddy, that we filmed all those years ago. I was like, yeah. He's like, oh, when can you start? I was like,
That easy, huh?
yeah.
That's fucking
I
hilarious.
was like, he's like, I got pretty much just the idea for that. So we built this tube chassis car, my buddy Mike and I, a long time ago. We called it the Coyote. It was an SR car, tube chassis that we built a long time ago. And that's one of the things we had at the Bash Bangers.
Yeah.
Which is another series they had called Hoon Machine, so you can look that up. It's also very cool. But Brian kept that in his brain, was like, we just messed up this Miata. It would be cool if you could make like a thing out of it. And that was Shark Cart. And
That's what I remember.
He's like, you could do that, right?
The most.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. So I wanted to ask about that next. I vividly, from the first time I met you, or not met you, but first time I saw you on the internet, was that the shit cart Miata? Is that what it was
Shark
called?
Cart.
Shark Cart?
Because we had shit car, and I don't know why, but it just spawned into Shark Cart for the next thing. It was like on this poo-poo theme.
Yeah.
Just little boys laughing at each other. I don't know. It's kind of that thing.
Jesus. So that was the first build, though, right?
Yeah.
That you did. You were a part of, had anything to do with.
Literally interview day.
No
When I went
shit,
in
it was
for
that
interview
day?
Scott was like, what do you think of this thing? I was like, it's cool.
They threw you on camera that day?
Pretty much, yeah. It was like
Wow.
immediately. So
That's got to be
pretty much-
nerve-wracking, especially back then.
The
YouTube's
next-
not really like...
the next day I walked in and pretty much handed me a camera. It was like, if you don't mind being on camera, just go film something. And I started filming. I was like, I don't know shit about it. I'm not scared of a
Hi.
camera. I mean, I was kind of scared. I was like,
Yeah,
I
it's
don't know.
just something new.
At least I know what I'm doing. I don't know. I'll just show you how to build a roll cage real quick. And you're basically building a gnarly roll cage.
Yeah.
Because it's just a deconstructed car. It's like, cool. Now I don't have to avoid glass and all that stuff. I can just weld and make whatever I want. I'm not in a restraint. And that series did really well. And I was working with Rob, Chair Slayer. They were trying to have Chair Slayer help. So they're like, ease people into knowing who I am because they had lost their other fabricator. And there was a whole thing there. And it's like, let's ease them into this new guy. And blah, blah, blah. But the series did really well.
What did happen with the old guy?
I don't know.
If you don't like it.
I don't know.
Oh, no idea?
People would ask me all the time, like, I don't know. I didn't. I was like, to be honest with you, I don't fucking watch Hoonigan.
Right.
I was like, I don't watch it. I'm just friends with Hurt.
I just ended up here. I was
like, I literally only watch what Hurt's in. And sometimes I don't give a shit what he's up to.
Right.
But sometimes, like, oh, okay, he's got a drift car out. I'm gonna watch this one. And it's like I don't even know what goes on with that. Even when I first started there, I was like, I get the hubbub. I definitely watched Gymkhana. I knew that was different, though. I totally knew that was different. I watched Gymkhana, but I didn't know much about it at that time. And I told him kind of bluntly, I was like, I don't know. You guys look like you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
You just look like you're doing burnouts in a parking lot. And me, as like an avid drifter, is like, I think I really like to be respectful on track and things like that. It's such a dorky thing, but it's like, I don't know. Those guys don't know what they're doing. But it turns out they really do. And they're just making entertainment. And then you get sucked right into it. Like, I want to do fun stuff.
Yeah, dude,
I want to crash something.
Daily transmissions and shit from back in the day. I watch those all the time. I had my buddy Dustin that was on there. He had which car did he take out there? I think it was the Fox Bloppy was the name of it. It was a Fox body with a New Edge front end, and then he had an S15 with an LSA in it or something that was white and red tint. And
Jeez.
Yeah, those videos were sick.
Yeah, we did thousands of them.
Yeah. Oh my God. Well, out of all of those, do you think you have like a favorite guest or car that came on?
Oh,
That might be a hard one.
that's tough. I will say one of my favorites was Tanner Faust.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Tanner
Why?
Faust was phenomenal, dude. I've never seen anybody drive like that. Like, they brought the Passat, you know, the big ass FD car.
Yeah.
And he's like, we talked about that. First of all, that car's fantastic. Papadakis is a genius. He's really good with all the setup and everything. So I was wanting to nerd out about that. And the car sounds amazing. It's one of the best sounding cars there was in FD at the time with the 8-to-1. It was like super good. But I know he had been doing a bunch with Grand Tour or Top Gear and stuff like that, and he hadn't been around drifting for quite a while.
Yeah.
And he comes out to run Manline with a car that doesn't fit on the dock and doesn't fit going down.
Yeah, because this is at the like old shop that had the tiny dock area.
Yeah,
for
yeah.
The man line.
The man line. He's gonna run the man line out of the shop, and we just did a quick walk, and I like measured the wheelbase of the car. He's like, I don't know if I'll fit, and I was like, I don't think you're gonna fit.
There's no way.
And he's like, Nah, I got it. And we measured it, and it was like he has to go up the curb with the rear wheel to go down it. And he fucking did it first try. He hadn't been in the car for like 6 months or so. First try.
Didn't damage anything.
Shoo, straight down it. I was like, what the?
Wow.
I was like, yeah, that's when in your head where you're like, I'm a good driver. And
Yeah,
you see somebody
yeah.
do that, and you're like, I'm not a good driver.
Yeah, I suck
Holy
after
shit.
that.
Yeah.
Jesus.
It's like, man, that was incredible. That was.
I bet
really
those
fun
videos
one.
were very humbling.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Stuff like that.
Yeah.
Even myself
but
sitting on the
there-
couch is like, dude, what in the fuck?
There's the other aspect of it too. Is like, why is this dude here? And then the whole thing shifts to like, well, let's make him crash his car or something. So,
We got to get something entertaining.
Yeah, we gotta get something entertaining.
Speaking of that, is there any of like people that have come out with their cars or like just any video in general that just didn't make it to the internet?
Oh yeah,
Oh,
all the time.
why? What were some of them?
Or
the most interesting one,
A
I
lot of
guess.
people are just really socially awkward and don't know how to operate on camera.
Yeah.
And that's fine, man. You don't have a camera shoved in your face. Most people aren't used to that.
Yeah.
And you get nervous and it makes it super awkward. But sometimes people are kind of dicks too. Or if you
No
rub
shit.
Brian the wrong way, you'd be like, fuck you. Yeah, we'll put this episode up. Never. But yeah.
Oh my God.
But I don't know. If you suck,
I mean, yeah.
If you
it's
suck,
not
you
much
suck.
You can do.
Man. Sorry. It's like, yeah. Or the car.
So most of the time it was
car
more or
wasn't
less for like the driving of it.
Yeah.
Or- okay.
Yeah. I mean, everybody's generally nice. You know.
True. Yeah, that's what I would expect.
If
I
the
wouldn't
car
expect
wasn't
people to be
interesting, or
coming and
wasn't what
cussing
it-
you out and shit.
Yeah. If it wasn't what somebody said, you know.
Gotcha.
Like that kind of thing. But we didn't run into it too much. It was just like, we'll make something interesting.
Yeah.
You get somebody like Zach, like, fucking jump it.
Scumbags.
Yeah, fucking jump it. It doesn't do a burnout. Oh, that's the thing. Dude, that's actually the funniest was when all the Teslas and shit started coming out and people were like, well, I'm going to do donuts in the Tesla. It's like, yeah, it doesn't fucking work.
No.
It doesn't. Nobody could make it work. Like even down to professional
Don't wanna
drivers.
do it.
Having pro FD guys come out and try and drive them, do donuts. So like, doesn't
Yeah.
fucking work. You're never going to sell me on an electric car. It sucks. I hate it.
Absolutely. Even that, who was the one that built the Camaro back in the day for FD?
Oh, it was
They
Reeder.
ran it. Who?
Travis Reeder.
Oh, that's right. Holy shit.
Yeah, and
Wow.
he drove the shit out of the thing. But
Yeah,
I
he drove
think
like-
it has a numbing feel to it, and they had to simulate some stuff to make him feel like he's driving with the clutch. You know,
Jeez,
those motions
so
in your brain.
weird. The
Yeah.
car was like, it seemed extremely slow compared to the field of cars out
Yeah.
there. But it was cool.
That's
it was
ahead of
cool
the
to
time,
see.
though.
Yeah, it was way ahead of the time.
It's really neat that
I hate that it didn't get to last longer than like 2 rounds.
I don't.
But
I'm glad it fizzed out.
well, yeah, I'm glad it fizzed out. But
Get the-
I would have loved to like see some
Get
potential
the fuck
out
out
of
of
it.
here. I like motors, man.
Let's see some
I
hydrogen
like
motors
that.
out there.
I like the sound of
True.
petrol
Yeah.
motors and the smell
Could
of
you
it.
imagine an entire drift event of just squealing tires and that's
Dude, I will
it?
say they had, I think it was an M3. Yeah, oh, dude, that just hit me what you just said. That's horrible.
Yeah, it's like fingernails down
Oh
a
my
chalkboard,
God.
bro.
Just screeching tires.
Yeah.
That's how drifting was when I started. Nobody had enough power, so it was just like just so bad. I remember that
my
vividly.
God.
All it was tire sounds,
Ugh.
and then everybody figured out or found a guy to learn how to weld and got a straight pipe. And then it was like, oh, KAs.
Oh, sick.
KAs sound horrible.
But it sounds better than these tires.
Yeah, it does. But yeah, we had an electric M3, I think, at the burn yard, and it was fucking terrifying because you couldn't hear it and where he was going. And
Oh,
it had so
yeah.
much power, and it was so smoked out that it was like, I'm gonna get hit by
Nobody
this
move.
Yeah, I'm gonna get hit by this guy. I don't know because I'm used to running around, running danger cam and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
And so it's hurt. Like we're both running around with GoPros. Like we know how
Being
cars
idiots.
operate.
Yeah.
So I can judge if he's gonna hit me or not. And it's like, no, fuck, I don't know what's going on.
Not
here.
really. We're just winging it.
Yeah, I don't. No more. Fuck electric cars. Fuck. The only electric car drifting I want to see is RC drifting.
Yeah.
And the camera's sitting in my RC drifting spot right now.
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah. I still have yet to get into that stuff. I don't need to. Oh, God. As far as all of the builds that you were kind of a part of with Hoonigan, is there any of them that you would say you didn't like?
Oh, yeah.
Or didn't turn out anywhere near the way you wanted it to?
Absolutely.
What was it and why?
The fucking diesel Camaro.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
I hated every step of that car.
Why?
Well,
I mean,
The whole
I would
idea-
agree, but why?
the whole idea of it is like, well, I don't know anything about diesel.
That'll do it.
Because that was the thing. It was like, we want to build a diesel car and for land speed. Cool.
Yeah.
That's great. I think it's a cool idea. I don't want to do it because I don't know anything about diesel. And it's a totally different world. And those guys are really particular in how things run. And I know that. I've got friends who are diesel mechanics and have been for years.
Yeah.
So I was like, there's a lot of knowledge in this. And these guys went to school for it and stuff. And I was like, I don't want to look like a fucking idiot on the internet. Like, let me stay in my wheelhouse.
Yeah, yeah.
And this is what I know. I was like, it's cool. It's challenging. I want to try something new. But I don't want to do this whole major series where I'm teaching people how to do things.
Yeah, and teaching
And
them the
I
wrong
literally
way on
don't
accident.
know what I'm doing at all. And I mean, I was so mad at the diesel community because I wanted to learn, and I reached out to a lot of people, and nobody gave me information.
Really?
And the guys that did give me information, I would relate it to like a high school clique of like girls, like cheerleaders or something. That's how they
wow.
were. It was like, well, he doesn't tune it right like this, or like they just bash each other. Like all the diesel guys hate each other. It's like, that guy can't tune. He does shit. And it was like, does everybody do shit?
What?
Who's the reputable guy? And Banks was like the reputable guy. Banks talked mad shit about me when I did it. And I was like, I hated this. Fuck that
People
dude.
suck.
Like, fuck you, you old geezer. I was like, I respect you for your time, but
Yeah.
you didn't give me your time,
That's
did
it.
you? You didn't help me. You said you're going to help me. You didn't. And then you flamed me on the internet.
It's like the drag race
And I was
guys.
like, that was hard. And then also I was like, I don't know anything about aero. Like proper. And I got to drive this car. We're supposed to go
I wouldn't
200.
have the first clue,
We're supposed to go
dude.
200 mile an hour. In a standing mile in a 1,000 horsepower diesel. I was like, and it's a Camaro, which is notorious for turning around at like 160 mile an hour. I watched a whole bunch of standing mile videos, and I was like, wow, it's just Camaros just flipping. I don't know if I want to do this.
This doesn't seem very safe,
But,
man.
yeah,
I don't know.
that build process was really hard for me, and a lot of people really enjoyed it. So I did enjoy it, the aspect that people liked it.
Yeah.
And we're like, wow, that's pretty crazy. But we never got to do anything with it. We never got to do the real deal. And I think that, that process was really hard for me. It was like a mentally draining process. But I learned a lot. I know a lot about LBZ now. Like, then I considered like, oh, I'll get a truck. And it turned out a lot of people did help in the end. Heavy D, the Diesel Brothers.
Oh, yeah.
He was very kind to me and gave me very kind words.
That's
and I was like,
awesome.
that's a special person. I like that guy. But it was cool in the fact that I could do a 200-mile-an-hour burnout in less than 3 seconds. You go first.
That's nuts.
First, it would be like whoosh, 80 pounds of boost,
Yeah.
over 1,000 horsepower, like 2,000 foot-pounds of torque. So
Fucking
305, 315 slicks or whatever, and it would light them up like they were dry rotted 195s. But it was a cool car, but it was a big pain in the ass to build. And I didn't enjoy any of the process except for I was like, ooh, the intercooler piping. This is going to be fun.
Yeah. I finally get to put my skills to work.
Yeah, that's all I want to do.
Did you even get to build a cage for it?
I did. I built the cage too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
the cage
good.
is gnarly. And I was thinking about it the whole time. Like, well, I definitely don't want to die. So I'll do the cage. And then it's in my hands. If I die, it's my fault.
Right.
But I trust me.
There you go. Yeah, that's all that matters.
I trust me more than I trust a lot of other people to build a cage. So, but yeah, that was a tough one. But it's a cool car. And then now that it's all over, I still want that fucking motor. And I think Scotto's got to kick it around somewhere. He's like, "You want to put that in the truck for me?" I was like, "What are you gonna do with a 2,000 foot-pound torque diesel? That thing runs like the Dickens.
Oh
though.
my
It's
God,
so good."
no. Oh, okay. Well, then I guess how long were you actually with Hoonigan entirely?
Man, I think it was like 5 years.
5 years total.
Yeah.
Why did you end up leaving? Or what was the exit scenario?
I kind of knew what was going on with the merger and stuff, and everything was kind of getting awkward. I didn't get along with Soupy great. It's just fabricator battle.
Coworker shit.
Yeah, and I was like, yeah, I don't know. I don't think I want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
I think it got kind of played out for me and feeling fake. And I hate doing like a bunch of commercials.
I don't think that's very hidden to anyone out there.
Yeah.
To me, I've said it on the podcast myself. Like Hoonigan just kind of came more mainstream, like kind of donut media stuff, and it got boring.
Yeah, well, I think as more of the sponsors and stuff came in, we had to be more professional and be like, use this oil, do this, do that. That's hard for me. That's why I never made it in Formula Drift or anything like that. I have a very hard time
being a robot.
Yeah. And being like, hey, man, I'll do whatever.
Yeah.
So it came off as unnatural to me, and I think once we did more of that, it just became numbing, and it was like all these other rules. When I first came in here, it was fucking chaos.
Yeah.
We were like jumping shit every day and doing donuts and all kinds of stuff. It was awesome. Like to have a job like that, what do you do afterwards?
Yeah.
Right? That was the whole thought of leaving was hard because I've made it, man. That's what I thought. Like
to most people, that is the pinnacle.
This is it. This is what I want to do.
Yeah.
Is build dumb shit, do dumb shit with it, and be paid to do it. Like, amazing. How am I ever going to have a better job than that?
Yeah.
And I don't know. I don't know how it became like so boring and played out, I guess.
Just became too corporate, it seems.
Too corporate, and then also you feel like you're just faking it with a lot of people. And I think that's hard too. And like you're forced to be with a whole bunch of other influencers and be like, we're all
we're all buddies.
We're all part of the
goody two shoes.
Yeah. And I was like, I don't like it.
I'm out.
But then going back to Formula D, I was like, oh yeah, I don't like this either. I immediately remember why I left this.
I regret this instantly.
But it is also fun too. Like with Formula Drift, it's like when you're in the shit, it's kind of fun being on the team and having stuff.
Oh, I'm
like,
sure.
1 second left to go, and then win the event. And it's like, that's what's up. We did that.
Oh,
that's cool. It's just
euphoria of everything paying off and stuff.
It's just the late nights of every night for the rest of your life. It's like 14-hour days. That's what people don't understand about working in Formula D. It's like, man, that must be pretty cool. No.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah.
You better be prepared to be up till 4 in the morning and then get up at 6 and do it 4 more days in a row. Like,
yeah, that shit's rough,
dude. Yeah.
And then blow a shitload of money at the same time.
Oh, yeah.
So,
like, how good are you doing clutches? You want to do 80 clutches in a season? No.
People say bumper budget and throw that term around all the time. That's real. That's actually a thing. Yeah. You got to buy. How many bumpers do you think Vaughn buys?
Not as many as clutches.
Fair. That's fair. Yeah.
That sucks as a mechanic.
Yeah, I'd hate to do a clutch.
But those cars are so gripped up, and the drivers are fucking insane. What do you expect?
Right.
They're gonna beat the living shit out of it. They're gonna win. They're not there to play.
That's true.
They're not there to have fun. They're there to kick your ass.
Yeah.
And the cars.
Absolutely.
The cars see it.
Well, I do want to touch on the FDF stuff or the FD stuff in a sec, but one last thing on Hoonigan. With obviously everyone knows the bankruptcy stuff and everything happening with Hoonigan now. What is your opinion on it, if you want to give it, and why do you think it has ended up this way?
I have no idea.
No?
I left there and turned my fucking brain straight off. I was like,
Okay. It's like I have no
Later.
more.
Later. And
Cool.
as far as that company, gone.
Yeah.
Like I didn't have to think of it because I knew it was gone, and we all felt the love leave. It wasn't like I left.
That sucks.
I wasn't like I
man.
left like Scotto and stuff. It was like Scotto and I are
Yeah.
good friends. All of us are good friends. We still have a group chat that we talk about pretty much almost every week. We talk to each
Damn.
other. So it's like Vinny, Ron, all the guys. Like we still talk to each other.
That's
all
really
the time.
cool.
So we're all boys, and we knew it was going down. So it was like Hoonigan didn't leave because we are it, right?
Yeah.
We know.
just left.
We left. The company was just like, well, whatever. And then with Ken's passing, it was like, now it's gone.
Yeah.
No, it's
that
gone,
makes
gone.
sense. Yeah. That's really
That's
all.
gone. There's the heart of it. And
Yeah.
I mean, that messed everybody up. You know, like he's the heart of it. He's the reason we're there. So
Yeah. I think there's just a lot of conspiracy theories and shit floating around as to why it's happened and all this stuff. But like, that's why I wanted to ask was that.
Yeah.
Because the base group of Hoonigan is gone, all of them.
Yeah.
So there's no more of genuine Hoonigan left.
back to what I said when I didn't watch it. I watched Hurt.
Yeah.
I watched what Hurt was. Hurt leaves. Fucking see ya.
Bye.
I'll follow that guy.
He's murdering shit.
I want to watch
He's
Hurt.
crazy.
Yeah, I want to watch Hurt and think about that with multiple people. Like somebody might not like me. Okay,
Yeah.
don't watch my shit. Go watch Hurt. I watch it for Hurt. I watch it for Vinny. And Vinny's content is fucking unreal right now. It's so good. And it's just Zach too. Is like Zach's his own character. He's definitely a character in his own. And it's like, yeah, go follow Zach.
Oh,
All
yeah.
these people.
I've been watching
leave.
some of the Ferrari build from Vinny.
Yeah, it's sick.
I love that car.
Yeah, I love Vinny, man. We've become really good friends, especially throughout Hoonigan
Yeah.
and stuff like that, and hanging out. But those guys, it's cool to see them have their success and do all these things. But it's like all these people leave. You want made a watch for one person. You want to watch people who love John Chase, right?
Yeah.
Like as an artist and stuff like that. It's like this is the guy who's making all of our stuff and making it noticeable, recognizable. It's like that's interesting to me. I love watching John paint and figure things out like that. It's like these people start leaving. What do you got?
Yeah. Oh,
Somebody imitating you. That's what you get.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Somebody imitating you, and I think that's where that dies.
Yeah.
And
People see it.
people see it, right? And it
That's
happened
for
to
sure.
all the other companies, right?
Yeah.
And you see like the boys at Big Time are crushing it. They're great dudes.
Oh, yeah.
And for a long time,
They're going to be way better off now.
I never talked to them because it was like, almost, I don't know. It was like, is this a competition thing? I met Job at SEMA, and we hung out, and it was like, you're a Miata guy? Yeah. I'm a Miata guy. Yeah. You like drifting? Yeah. I was like, we're pretty cool.
Fuck yeah.
We're friends. You a fabricator? Do you fix everybody's shit? Yeah. Okay. It was like, we're pretty much the same dude. And we hung out for a couple hours. I was like, I love this dude.
Yeah.
Why have I never talked to this guy before? So I'm glad to see their success as well. It's cool to see that a lot of the guys are coming back around and making their own content and going with ways of it. Because really, it's just like watching another channel of it. Like Hoonigan did so many things that, like, okay, I don't want to watch this, but I'll watch this part of Hoonigan.
Yeah.
Like I want to watch a daily transmission, or I want to watch Build Biology, or something like that. There's different vibes there. It's the same thing, and now you have more to choose from. So
Yeah. The whole empire of content.
yeah,
It's ridiculous.
When you're doing your morning dump, it's who you're gonna
Right. There you
gonna
go.
watch before I have to go to work. You know. For me, I do tune into YouTube every morning now, and it's something I never did, but I do it because I have so many friends in it, and I just want to see what they're doing.
Yeah.
You know?
Literally, yeah.
It's like,
I've always just been kind of obsessed with YouTube for the most part. That's why I do it now.
Yeah.
But Yeah, I've always enjoyed it. I'm constantly on it. I don't watch TV hardly ever. It's always just YouTube.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I kind of am the same. Like
Yeah.
I'll watch a movie or something in the evening, but I watch YouTube in the morning. I'm like, there's so much drifting. There's so much everywhere.
Yeah.
Like this is the best drifting has ever been, and
Absolutely.
it's like, well, I could watch drifting literally all day,
yeah,
and it's just shit that happened this week. Like like
true.
all day is like I can't even catch up. Like there's events
It's
all around the
impossible.
world, and people are all around the world, and people are coming from all around the world to here.
Yeah.
It's like now this is an interesting story. I want to see that. Or you see like a new track, and like everybody's like, "Oh, well, shit."
Yeah.
Wait till you see some stuff about Polecat. Like,
Dude,
'cause
yeah,
I've heard that that's
place
gnarly.
ain't that far from me, and I still have yet to go drive
Yeah,
it.
me either. I've heard about it. It's like, well, I want to see a banger video of that. I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure Hurt just made one. So maybe by the time this is out,
Rats.
then it'll probably be out there. Oh, I'm not rats to me. I want to watch it. I want to see my boy shred that shit.
Oh, of
That's
course,
how I'll
yeah.
gauge how I will drive there. It's just watching Hurt.
There you go, yeah.
Yeah.
Jeez. All right, well, let's jump on the FD thing then. I want to ask, as far as, because you did mainly just like fabricating and stuff for them, like you were just part of the crew working on the car.
With RTR.
I guess with all of them. I mean,
So my first team was Andrew Gray,
Okay.
who was a Formula Drift Japan driver, and he came to the States to try his hand at pro spec, or I guess pro spec and then pro.
Mm-hmm.
But he got right into pro because he was championship of FD, so in Japan.
yeah.
And he was building a car over here. My buddy was building his car. His name's Andy Seahausen. He's one of the best crew guys
Yeah.
that there is. He was one of my best friends. And he was building a car for him, and they were running out of time. And he's like, do you know anybody who's crazy enough to come out here and finish this in 2 weeks? And he's like, I got the guy. He called me.
Yup.
I was like, working at a shop at the time with my buddy Mike. I was like, I got to go. I've been called up.
I've been summoned.
I've been called up to the big leagues, boss. I gotta go. So I was super stoked to go out there, and me and him thrashed on this car and put it together. And as I was hanging out with Andy, we became really cool with each other.
Yeah.
Me and Andy Gray. And then he's like, man, you're pretty knowledgeable about driving. I was like, I've been driving for a long time, man. He's like, you want to be my spotter? I was like, fuck yeah.
Absolutely.
That sounds like a really cool job.
Yeah.
I was like, that sounds amazing. So
Speaking of, not to cut you
Yeah.
off, like your average spotter position in FD, what does that even pay?
I don't know.
Is it even like like just, you don't even have to say a number. Just would someone be able to, does anyone already or that you've seen make a full-time living doing it?
I don't think, not as a spotter. I think being
Spotter or like any type of crew
a
member?
spotter is typically a very smart guy that's going to show up just because it's his buddy, somebody you trust, right?
Yeah.
Like, this is my friend. I trust him for years. They're getting paid.
Right,
Obviously,
right.
they are getting paid, but it's not their full-time job. They're just showing up to do a favor.
Yeah.
We don't have as many races and stuff like NASCAR.
Mm-hmm.
Where that is something lucrative. It's eight rounds. What do you do in the meantime then? As a mechanic, you got a lot to do. The cars
Yeah.
are fucked.
Oh, yeah.
As a spotter, it's like, nah. But some guys do double duty. They'll be a spotter and work the crew.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I was with Andy Gray. So
Okay.
it was just me and my friend Andy. That was it. That was our crew.
Jeez.
And I was a spotter. So Andy would pretty much cover everything on the car. And then
rough.
if anything went wrong, I'd have to come running down, throw my headset off, run down to the car and go do stuff and then back. And I was like up in the tower, like trying to give him notes and try not to throw up at the same time. It's like, why is this fucking tower so far away from grid?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was cool. It was a cool start with Andy. And then I moved. We had a really fun, good season, and he trusted me, and he was like, you got to come to Japan with me. Mm-hmm. We got to finish out the FD Japan. I need you to spot for me there. So I moved to Japan. Fuck it. Hey, buddy, I quit.
That's wild.
That's what I was talking with my buddy Omar. He's one of my best friends forever, like that we started the shop together with. We built all kinds of things. I was like, hey man, I got an opportunity to move to Japan. He's like, see ya. It's like that's how
Absolutely,
you quit.
that's crazy.
That's how you quit the job. Like I don't want to leave you high and dry here, but
Yeah.
I got an opportunity to move to Ebisu
I bet
and live there,
that was
and I'm
insane.
gonna do it. And it didn't pay shit, but it was a really great experience.
Oh, I'm sure. How long did you get to do that?
I was like 4 or 5 months.
Man, that'd be so cool.
I never ate lunch. I would just get up and go on Tugate all day.
Who needs to eat? We got one meal at least a day. We're fine.
Yeah,
That'd be it.
You get 7-Eleven spaghetti in Japan. They make spaghetti.
I gotta go to
over
Japan
there.
so bad.
It's so good. But that was a blast. And then after that, we were working out of the same thing as Dean Carney. And Dean saw me work and was like, I need you on my team. So when I decided I was leaving Japan, he's like, how would you like to move to California? I was like, fucking A. How does life work? How does life work? Life's weird. You want to move to California or live in Huntington Beach? I was like, damn it, man. I definitely want to live by the beach. That sounds amazing.
God, you're sick.
And we had a blast together, man. Dean's a really cool dude. We got along super well. I lived on an air mattress in his living room for a year. I moved out there, $400 and a suitcase. And then I stayed there for 7 years, and I went through Hoonigan and all that from moving out there with Dean. And Dean, he's a hard driver, man. I think the Viper gave him a lot of shit. I think he doesn't get the credit as a driver as what he is. You put that dude in an S15, he'd be hurting people out there. But I think the Viper is really hard for him to struggle with.
I could see that. Yeah. For the longest time, the Viper just didn't look like it performed anywhere near
It's fast as fuck.
the low. I mean, yeah, fast, but like it just didn't. The way it maneuvered on track and transition and stuff, it just looked awkward.
Trying to figure it out was hard, and going through different setups and stuff. It was just a thing that worked for him for sponsor stuff.
Right.
But they also had Wordhouse work out of there, and I got to work with James and Peter, and those
Hell
two
yeah.
were phenomenal. And that was probably the best season of FD ever, because we had under one roof. It was Dean Carney, James Dean, and Peter, and they were the most fun. It was lawless.
I'm sure.
Were way too wild. It felt.
I've heard some stories about like rental cars and shit with them.
They can't even get into that.
They don't give a fuck.
It was lawless. We had a freaking blast, man. And that was like a huge bonding moment.
That's so cool.
And then after that, that's when I got the job at Hoonigan. So fast forward 5 years, back to FD, Odie. Odie's like, man, I would love to have your help. Because I went and filmed something with them with Hoonigan, and I was like, hey, man, you got knocked out of this for a tie rod. Something's wrong with the team there. It was a tie rod, bro. Like,
that ain't nobody else's fault but your team.
I was like, I just saw Papadakis and those guys swap an entire subframe and get back on track. Like, they did a motor in 20 minutes. It's like,
Jesus.
But Odie's like, I'd love to have you on my team and stuff like that. And I was like, I love Odie. I think he's the best chase driver in the world. Like, Odie fucking rips. He's always been the bridesmaid, never the bride. And I was like, he's gonna get it. He's gonna get it. And I hope I'm on the team when he gets it.
Yeah.
And we tried really hard, and we had big struggles that season. I really admire Odie, and I admire his driving, and he's doing great this year too.
Oh yeah.
But then I had other stuff going on where I had to move, and I was like, I got to get out of California, dude. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I was like, I got to leave, Odie. I'm out of Cali. I can't.
Cali's
I was like,
too
if
much.
I always told myself, if I moved away from the beach, there's no point in living in California. And I stick by that. Like,
Yeah.
I lived by the beach and it was fantastic. And then when I moved away from the beach, it was like, it's just a fucking desert.
Yeah.
In Southern California, it was like, it's just a desert. There's no
literally
point in
all it
living
is.
here. Just expensive. So I went to RTR and, coast to coast. And then
That's
I
literally coast to
literally-
coast.
my buddy Andy, who I got into FD with, called me again. Hey man, I needed help at a project at RTR. Okay.
Dude.
And so he's helped me get all these different jobs, man. It's come through my buddy Andy. And we helped work on switchgear, which is it's a Lightning, the electric Lightning.
Yeah.
And we built like seats and kind of roll bars and things like that, and then started doing suspension and all this stuff for off road.
Yeah.
And then it was like, well, can you help build the car for James? Like, yeah, sure. And then after that, it was like, you want to just work here and help run the cars?
Dude?
You know, like that's kind of how it goes. Like,
Okay, so-
put yourself in a position to do something like that. It's like,
Yeah.
it's super weird, and it comes through word of mouth of a friend. It's like, do a good job.
Exactly.
Do a good job. Be respectful, and that's maybe.
So you've
gonna
never
lead you-
gone out and like asking for these positions,
No.
or these jobs. Okay, I want to note on that to anyone trying to find your own business and do your own ways and stuff like that. That's it. The work shows it.
Yeah.
As long as the work keeps getting put out, people will see it. You have no idea how many eyeballs are looking at.
For real.
Shit. Like it's.
I get asked a lot about FD and working in FD, and it is a cool job.
Yeah.
Like, and there's a big camaraderie there between everyone.
Yeah.
All the teams. Like, you're rivals, but everybody understands. You're all in this shit together. And it's fun, man. It is like a whole circus. I absolutely loved it. And I just don't want to do it anymore. I'm too old for it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But it's really fun. But getting in there, every team is looking at everybody. And you're like, that guy rips.
Yeah.
That guy's really good.
They're all studying each other
Yeah.
so that they can top each other.
And it's always going around and around. People pay different. People have to move. People do things. And it's like, that dude's really good. We can need that guy. If he leaves, we're fucking taking that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and that's how it is everywhere. I mean, even in YouTube and stuff. Like, you see that guy leaves, we need that guy.
Yeah.
He would be good here.
Spoon.
Yeah.
Just had Spoon on. Same thing there. He was working at a shop. Jimmy needed him.
Yeah.
Finally hired him on.
Yeah, I actually did watch that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that because I was like, yeah, that's it.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Spoon's a good dude. I love that guy.
Yeah, and that's how it goes sometimes, man. It's just work.
Oh, yeah.
Do your job and be respectful, and you never know who's watching.
Absolutely.
And that's the same as driving. That's what we were talking about earlier and going back to the track. If you're getting into drifting and you work on your own shit and you're working on your own car, everybody's watching you. I'm watching you.
Yeah.
I watch everybody. It's in my head. I'm competitive. So I watch every driver. I watch and I see who's good and who's doing stuff, and it's like, and also who needs help. At my age, it's like, point some stuff out.
Ask questions.
You know what helps?
Ask questions.
It's like, this dude, I can see right now that the setup's wrong. Let me just go put him in the right direction a little bit.
Yeah.
So now he's going to get some laps.
Hey, I don't want to step over your toes or anything, but I
Yeah.
did notice something. Here it is.
Yeah. Now he's going to
Take it or not,
Now he's
don't
going to get
matter.
some good laps.
Yeah.
And it actually had some people this weekend, which is like, oh, it makes me feel good.
That's awesome.
I was watching some guys. I was like, he's struggling. Let me tell him just a little bit.
That is a good feeling. I'm not gonna lie.
And it's the same with the build, you know, and cars and stuff and how to redo things. And it's like, even with your car, it's like I saw yesterday, it's like, well, there's definitely some things to improve on. I can give you my ideas.
Absolutely.
Because I've been around it for so long. It's like, I've been doing this and working for different teams in FD. Everybody works differently or has a different mindset. RTR was so much different than anything I'd ever done before.
Yeah,
And drifting,
yeah, sure.
it made flipped drifting on its head to me, and I was like, I don't understand what's going on here. It's because everybody's from fucking NASCAR,
Yeah.
and these guys are good at shit. Yeah,
They actually know what they're doing.
Yeah.
If you had the opportunity to build your best seat time car you could ever think of with whatever budget, and you're just doom scrolling on Injuku, what car would it be, and what parts are you going to get from Injuku?
Oh man. Well, this was the intent, was the S14. But honestly, if I had my choice, it'd be a JZX 100 Chaser.
I'm with that.
It's like for laps, daily, whatever. I mean, you're turning laps. It's a really easy, fun car to drive, and they're very reliable. And I mean, obviously, I'm gonna have probably the same arms kit that I have on the S14 to do all the ISR stuff, and just get her dialed. You know,
Oh, yeah.
like that's it. I don't need much.
No.
I throw a Garrett turbo on it,
Fuck
a
yeah.
Haltech. Cool, done.
Sold.
That's all I need. Like I'm
cake.
super basic when it comes to a drift car, man. Like
Yeah.
that's it. That's all I need. I need a JZ.
Yeah. We'll cut the knuckles,
pretty
we're
hard.
fine.
I'm pretty hardcore into the JZs, man. The first time I drove one, I was like, yep, that's it.
That seems to be the going wave with a lot of the guys that are been around in the sport for
Yeah.
years and years.
The first time I drove one, I was like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
This is amazing. I've been driving an SR this whole time. Like, you go from an SR to a JZ car, and you're like, whoa.
What in the hell?
That's what I was missing. It's the same thing for guys with V8s, too, where they're like, oh, what the fuck? This is so fucking easy. What are you complaining about out there? Yeah.
Jesus. All right, and then I guess let's get your absolute best piece of advice for anyone just getting into drifting.
Yeah, basically with the theme
back.
we've stuck to here is just watch and observe.
Yeah.
Watch and observe. Watch the guys around you. Watch the guys running the events, and just pay attention, man. Because if you're respectful to people, and like I said, everyone's watching you. Mm-hmm. Be respectful to everyone, and listen to the guys who are controlling your fate.
Yeah.
Because if you want to end up doing something like Drift Appalachia or Formula Drift, you're gonna have to know these people. So take their guidance. And that's it. I mean, we're established now.
Yeah.
Drifting is established.
Mm-hmm.
It is
sport. It's here.
I am of the age that I could have children who are driving against me right now. That's
True.
cool. And I don't think there's that in any other. This is the first time that drifting has become that sport.
To that age.
I want to do a new sport that's been around for a long time. And its families passed down. Down. And there's not information on it because it's just passed down, and you're expected to know. We're finally getting to that point in drifting. It was like these kids now. There's kids and kids who are starting to drive.
Wild. The Manoas.
Oh, Manoa's the future, man.
Yeah,
he's a freaking
This whole
beast.
family, they all drift.
Exactly.
It's insane.
So now we have second and third generation drifters.
Yeah,
and that's crazy. Like I was just thinking about that last night. That's nuts.
Yeah.
So that's cool. Pay attention.
Absolutely. Big on that.
Don't let Edgar call you something from the 90s.
Yeah. It's this. No offense to it. It's not mean.
Yeah.
It's in the 90s way. Okay, and then it's a little deeper, but if you had the opportunity to speak to the entire world, what would your one message be?
Shut the fuck up.
Fuck yes. That's the best answer I've ever gotten to that question. Shut the fuck up.
For real. Shut the fuck up for a
lot
second.
of you guys do more bitching than you do working.
I think, honestly,
Fixing shit.
There's too much noise. There's too much noise right now, even with content and social media and everything else. Take a break. Put your fucking phone down.
Yeah.
Put your phone down. Enjoy it. And when you're at the events, enjoy it.
Yeah.
Go take a ride along with your friend.
One of the hardest things in life to ever do for me is not touching my phone for the first 20 to 30 minutes of waking up.
Yeah.
So hard.
I was just telling Emily about this. I was doing that because I heard it from Matt Field.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Well, I've literally heard that a million times. I'm weird, and I'll watch business motivation type videos and just strategic stuff because I like psychology.
Yeah.
But that has come up trillions of times.
Yeah.
And it's just the one thing I can't grasp.
Yeah.
Because there's so much shit that I just have to emails and messages, DMs,
it's
comments.
nuts. Especially for drifting. Put your fucking phone down. If you're going to ride with somebody, put your phone down.
Yeah.
Enjoy it. You're going to miss so much. So, yeah, go ride with your friends. And if you're really, good at it, then definitely film it because your friend's going to love that.
Right.
But, I mean, enjoy it. Just go to an event, put your phone down for a little bit, enjoy it, talk to people.
Absolutely.
That's how I feel about the world for a second. Put your damn phone down. The ghost door, dude.
It's like, what the fuck?
I bought this place cheap because it's haunted.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. Be humble, be respectful.
Good.
And shut the fuck up.
Cheers to that, dude. That's the best. All right. Well, if you want, plug yourself. Plug any sponsors, people, anyone?
Yeah, man. Follow me on Instagram, DangerDan3. Also, YouTube, Danger Dan. Just search that. I'm trying to come up with.
No need to search. It'll be in the description.
And then I'm also starting something called Mad Decent Racing, which will encompass a couple new things of me trying to do some different styles of driving. I'm definitely going to be around drifting for the rest of my life because it is 100% everything. Come see me at an event. I'll be at events. So
cheers.
Watch my YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
Please. It helps. And I'm not shy. So if you see me at an event, come say hello.
There you go. Hell yeah. All right, well, that's all we got for this one. Again, I really appreciate it.
Yeah,
especially letting me come in and take over the space to do this.
Yeah, no, I wish we could hang out here more, but we got to go back to the track.
Yeah, we're running a little late because of this. My bad. But that's all we got. So appreciate it. Links to everything you will ever need are always in the description. Go grab you some Injuku parts. And see you each and every Sunday for a brand new episode. Thanks. Peace.
Stacking way up to the ceiling. Trust no bitch, can't catch no feelings. I've been taking long flights from the Bay to Ibiza. Hit home runs, I'm a ball like Jeter. I just want fuck, then I leave her. I'm a young pop star, call the boy Justin Bieber. Got a little money if you want, I can teach you. Whole life a movie, you can watch it in theater. Stacking way up to the ceiling. Trust no bitch, can't catch no feelings. I've been taking long flights from the Bay to Ibiza. Hit home runs, I'm a ball like Jeter.